The world does not ignore you by accident. It ignores you because you have trained it to. Every time you begged for approval, explained yourself too much, tolerated disrespect, or made yourself available, you taught people that your presence carried no cost. Machiavelli understood a truth weak men refuse to face. Attention is not given to the deserving. It is seized by the dangerous, the valuable, the disciplined, and the unreadable. You do not become impossible to ignore by speaking louder. You become impossible to ignore by becoming harder to replace, harder to predict, and harder to control. The moment people sense that you need their validation, your power collapses. The moment they realize you can walk away without shaking, their behavior changes. This is not about becoming arrogant. It is about becoming undeniable. In the next 7 rules, you will learn how to build a presence that enters the room before you do, how to make silence feel heavier than noise, and how to turn discipline into authority. But understand this before we begin. The version of you that gets overlooked must be destroyed. You are not here to be noticed. You are here to become impossible to dismiss. Rule 1. Stop seeking attention. Build presence. The first rule is brutal. Stop trying to be seen. The more desperately you chase attention, the more invisible you become. People can feel hunger for approval. They hear it in the way you overtalk, see it in the way you perform, and sense it in every unnecessary explanation. Neediness leaks through the body before a single word is spoken. Machiavelli understood that power begins when you no longer depend on the crowd to confirm your worth. A man with presence does not enter a room asking, "Do they like me?" He enters knowing exactly who he is, what he wants, and what he will never tolerate. That certainty changes the atmosphere. Presence is not loudness. It is controlled energy. It is the calm face when others are desperate to impress. It is the measured voice when everyone else is competing to be heard. It is the refusal to laugh too hard, explain too much, or chase people who have already shown indifference. You become noticeable when your behavior proves that your attention is selective. Stop reacting to every opinion. Stop interrupting silence because it makes you uncomfortable. Stop announcing your plans before you have results. Let people wonder what you are thinking. Let them notice that you are not begging to belong. Build your body, sharpen your mind, improve your appearance, control your posture. Move as though your time has value, because it does. When you speak, look people in the eyes. When you listen, do not fidget. When you decide, do not apologize for having standards. The world studies how you treat yourself and follows your example. If you treat your presence as cheap, others will spend it carelessly. If you guard it, discipline it, and attach it to purpose, people will feel its weight. Your goal is not to dominate every room with noise. Your goal is to become the one person whose silence changes the room. True presence is built in private through promises kept when nobody is watching and discipline nobody is applauding. Stop asking for attention. Become the kind of man attention searches for. Rule 2. Become valuable enough to be needed. The second rule is simple. Become useful at a level people cannot easily replace. Attention fades, charm wears off, noise is forgotten, but value creates gravity. Machiavelli understood that power does not belong to the person who is merely liked. It belongs to the person whose absence creates a problem. If people can remove you without losing anything, they will ignore you without hesitation. So stop trying to become more entertaining and start becoming more necessary. Learn what others avoid. Master what others fear. Build skills that solve expensive, painful, urgent problems. The world notices the man who can enter chaos and create order. It remembers the one who remains competent when everyone else becomes emotional. Your value must be visible through results, not promises. Do not tell people you are disciplined. Let your consistency expose it. Do not claim intelligence. Let your decisions prove it. Do not advertise strength. Let pressure reveal it. The more capable you become, the less you need to demand respect. Competence forces recognition. But understand this carefully. Being useful does not mean becoming everyone's servant. A man without boundaries becomes convenient, not powerful. Give value selectively, help strategically. Never train people to believe they can access your time, energy, and knowledge whenever they desire. Scarcity increases weight. When your contribution is rare and your standards are high, people begin to calculate the cost of losing you. That is when your presence changes. You are no longer another face in the room. You become the solution they cannot casually dismiss. Study human behavior, learn communication, control money, develop physical discipline. Improve your craft until your work speaks before you do. Every day, ask yourself one ruthless question. What can I do that most people around me cannot? Then deepen that advantage until comparison becomes impossible. You do not need to be good at everything. You need to be exceptional at something that matters. Become the person who sees what others miss, handles what others avoid, and finishes what others abandon. Protect that value from careless exposure. Never reveal every method, contact, or advantage you possess. Let people benefit from your ability without understanding its source. What is completely understood can be copied. What remains partly concealed continues to command attention and respect. The moment your absence becomes more painful than your presence, you stop being overlooked. You become necessary, and necessary people are never ignored. Rule 3. Speak less, make every word carry weight. The third rule is ruthless. Stop giving people unlimited access to your thoughts. Most men weaken themselves through excess. They explain every decision, reveal every emotion, answer every question, and fill every silence because they fear being misunderstood. That fear makes them transparent, and what is completely transparent becomes easy to predict, easy to manipulate, and easy to dismiss. Machiavelli understood that power often hides behind restraint. The man who speaks less forces others to listen harder. His silence creates uncertainty. His words arrive with weight because they are not wasted. You must learn to treat language like a weapon. A weapon is not swung wildly. It is drawn with purpose. Speak when your words can change the direction of the room. Stay silent when speaking would only expose insecurity, anger, or desperation. Never argue simply to prove you are right. Weak people need immediate recognition. Powerful people can allow others to underestimate them while they continue building advantage. When challenged, slow down. Hold eye contact. Let the other person reveal more than they intended. People become careless when they believe silence means weakness. They talk too much. They expose motives. They reveal jealousy, fear, ambition, and strategy. Your restraint turns their mouth against them. Do not interrupt. Do not rush to defend yourself. Listen until you understand what they truly want. Then answer with precision. One controlled sentence can cut deeper than 10 emotional paragraphs. Remove weak phrases from your speech. Stop saying maybe when you mean no. Stop apologizing for standards. Stop softening every truth to protect people from discomfort. Calm directness creates respect, but do not confuse bluntness with strength. A man who insults everyone is not powerful. He is uncontrolled. Your goal is not to become cruel. Your goal is to become deliberate. Know when to speak, what to reveal, and what to leave unanswered. Mystery is not created by pretending to be complicated. It is created by refusing to explain what does not require explanation. Keep your plans private until results make them undeniable. Keep your pain away from those who would use it as information. Keep your ambitions protected from those who would poison them with doubt. The less people know about your next move, the harder it becomes for them to interfere. And when you do speak, make your voice steady. Eliminate nervous speed. Choose simple words. Do not repeat yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Say what matters once, then let your actions complete the sentence. Eventually, people will stop treating your words as background noise. They will notice when you become quiet. They will study your pauses. They will remember your decisions. That is the power of verbal scarcity. Speak less, reveal less, react less. Make every word earn its place. When your silence carries more authority than another man's shouting, you become impossible to ignore. Silence becomes your armor, precision becomes your blade, and restraint becomes the invisible crown that separates controlled men from desperate performers seeking constant approval. Rule 4. Create mystery by controlling access. The fourth rule is cold. What people can access without effort, they eventually stop respecting. Familiarity does not always create loyalty. Often it creates carelessness. When you are constantly available, constantly replying, constantly explaining, and constantly present, your value becomes ordinary. People begin to assume that your time belongs to them. They stop preparing for your presence because they no longer fear your absence. Machiavelli understood that power grows through controlled distance. The prince who appears everywhere becomes common. The man who reveals everything becomes predictable. And the person who is always reachable becomes easy to use. You must learn to control access without becoming theatrical. Do not disappear to manipulate attention. Disappear because your mission requires focus. Do not become silent to punish people. Become silent because not every person deserves a window into your mind. Mystery is not a performance. It is the natural result of boundaries, discipline, and a life too purposeful to be constantly displayed. Stop documenting every move. Stop announcing every achievement. Stop exposing every setback. Let people see the outcome, not the entire construction. When they know every step, they feel involved in your power. When they only witness the result, they feel its force. Keep parts of your life untouched by public opinion. Protect your routines. Protect your relationships. Protect your next decision. The more sacred your private world becomes, the less influence outsiders have over your direction. Control your availability. You do not need to answer every message immediately. You do not need to attend every gathering. You do not need to remain where your presence is tolerated instead of valued. Leave before your energy becomes background noise. Speak before silence would look like fear. Then withdraw before your words become cheap. Let people experience the contrast between your presence and your absence. That contrast creates psychological weight, but understand the danger. Distance without value is simply disappearance. You must be building while you are unseen, sharpening, producing, strengthening, returning with more substance than before. Otherwise, your absence means nothing. Mystery works only when there is depth behind it. Become difficult to read but easy to respect. Be warm without becoming available to everyone. Be honest without revealing everything. Be present without becoming dependent on being included. Never let loneliness push you back into rooms that weakened your standards. Never let boredom make you expose plans that require protection. The moment people realize they cannot summon you, predict you, or fully understand you, they begin to study you differently. They measure their words. They become more careful with your time. They notice when you arrive and feel the shift when you leave. This is not arrogance. It is self-command. Your life is not public property. Your attention is not a free resource. Your presence is not an unlimited supply. Guard access. Reduce exposure. Increase substance. Let curiosity work in your favor. What remains partly hidden holds power, and the man who controls access to himself controls how the world perceives him. Make people earn proximity through respect, consistency, and loyalty. Never confuse attention with devotion. Many will watch you simply because they cannot understand you. Let them watch. Your task is not to satisfy their curiosity. Your task is to preserve the inner fortress from which your discipline, judgment, and authority emerge. Rule 5. Build a reputation that enters the room first. The fifth rule is merciless. Build a reputation so strong that your name speaks before you enter the room. Power does not begin when you arrive. It begins in the minds of others before your face appears. Reputation is the invisible messenger that travels ahead of you, announcing whether you are disciplined or careless, reliable or weak, dangerous or disposable. Machiavelli understood that men are judged not only by what they do, but by what others believe they are capable of doing. That belief can open doors, silence disrespect, and force attention without a single demand. But reputation cannot be manufactured through performance. It must be earned through repeated evidence. Every promise you keep strengthens it. Every excuse you make weakens it. When you arrive prepared, remain composed, finish what you start, and refuse to lower your standards, you add a stone to the fortress around your name. Become known for consistency. Anyone can appear powerful once. Anyone can deliver when conditions are perfect. The man who becomes impossible to ignore performs when tired, overlooked, doubted, and under pressure. He does not require applause to remain disciplined. He does not need motivation to honor his word. He understands that people are always recording patterns while pretending otherwise. They remember who disappeared when work became difficult. They remember who betrayed trust for convenience. They remember who stayed calm when the room became unstable. Your reputation is built from these moments. Guard it ruthlessly. Do not attach your name to inferior work, careless behavior, or desperate alliances. Do not stand beside people whose chaos will stain you. Association is a silent endorsement. People around you shape how others calculate your standards. Choose your circle as carefully as your battles, but never become obsessed with protecting an image. Image is fragile. Character is durable. If you focus only on appearing strong, the first pressure will expose the performance. Build substance beneath the surface. Train your body so your posture communicates discipline. Train your mind so your decisions communicate judgment. Train your emotions so your reactions communicate control. Dress with intention, speak with precision. Handle small responsibilities like tests for authority. The world rarely gives power to the person who treats details carelessly. Excellence in private creates authority in public. When you make a mistake, do not bury it beneath excuses. Correct it. Learn visibly. Refuse to repeat it. Accountability does not destroy reputation. Repeated weakness does. A man who can admit an error without collapsing shows more power than one who lies to protect his pride. Still, never confess every flaw to every audience. Vulnerability without judgment becomes ammunition. Reveal only what serves truth, growth, or trust. Keep the rest inside the workshop, where stronger versions of you are built. Eventually, your name must become connected to an expectation. When people hear it, they should think, he delivers, he does not panic, he cannot be bought cheaply, and he does not bend for approval. That expectation becomes leverage. People prepare differently when they know your standards. They negotiate differently when they know you will walk away. They speak differently when they know disrespect has consequences. You no longer need to announce your boundaries because your history has already announced them. This is how reputation enters the room first. It creates weight before conversation, authority before instruction, and attention before appearance. Build it slowly. Protect it fiercely. Let every action sign your name. When your character becomes predictable in strength but unpredictable in strategy, people stop asking whether you matter. They begin calculating what happens if they lose you, oppose you, or underestimate you. Rule 6. Become emotionally unshakable under pressure. The sixth rule is absolute. Never let another person control your nervous system. The moment someone can provoke you on command, they own a piece of you. They raise their voice, and you lose focus. They withdraw attention, and you become desperate. They insult you, and you rush to defend yourself. That is not strength. That is captivity. Machiavelli understood that the calmest man in the conflict often holds the greatest advantage, because emotional control allows him to see what anger hides. When others become reactive, they reveal themselves. Their pride speaks. Their fear surfaces. Their strategy collapses. Your task is not to match their chaos. Your task is to study it. When disrespect arrives, pause. Do not give the offender the satisfaction of watching you break character. Let silence expose how much effort they are using to disturb you. A weak man reacts to the tone. A powerful man examines the intention. Ask yourself what they want from your reaction. Do they want you angry, defensive, guilty, jealous, or afraid? Then deny them that outcome. This does not mean tolerating humiliation. Emotional control is not submission. It is choosing the timing, method, and cost of your response. Sometimes power is a calm boundary. Sometimes it is distance. Sometimes it is a consequence delivered without drama. Sometimes it is walking away and removing access permanently. But never strike while your judgment is clouded. Rage makes you predictable. Desperation makes you negotiable. Fear makes you obedient. Master all three. Train yourself to remain still when praise inflates others, when rejection wounds others, and when uncertainty paralyzes others. Praise can manipulate you as easily as criticism. The person addicted to admiration will betray his values to keep receiving it. Accept compliments without becoming dependent on them. Accept rejection without turning it into a verdict on your worth. Accept betrayal as information. It hurts, but it also clarifies. It shows you where trust was misplaced, where boundaries were weak, and where desire blinded judgment. Learn the lesson without worshipping the wound. Do not build your identity around what someone did to you. That keeps them powerful long after they are gone. Convert pain into discipline. Convert humiliation into awareness. Convert loss into strategy. Your emotions are signals, not commanders. Listen to them, but do not hand them the throne. Under pressure, slow your breathing. Relax your face, lower your voice, make fewer movements. The body can teach the mind to regain command. Delay important decisions until the emotional storm passes. Never send the message written in rage. Never reveal the secret exposed by heartbreak. Never make permanent choices to escape temporary discomfort. The world will test whether your center belongs to you. People will provoke you where you are insecure. Life will strike where you are attached. Enemies will study what makes you impulsive. Remove those handles. Become difficult to bait. Let insults die without an audience. Let manipulation fail without explanation. Let temptation meet a man who remembers his mission. The more stable you become, the more unstable people feel around you, because they can no longer predict which button will move you. That uncertainty protects you. Your calm becomes intimidating, not because it threatens violence, but because it proves independence. You cannot be ruled by approval, fear, anger, or loneliness. You choose your actions from principle. You choose your battles from strategy. You choose your exits without begging anyone to understand. This is the discipline that separates dangerous men from loud men. Loud men advertise emotion. Dangerous men convert emotion into direction. When pressure rises, become slower. When others panic, become clearer. When they expect an explosion, give them calculation. Make your composure so complete that people begin questioning their own power over you. Once they realize they cannot shake you, seduce you, shame you, or frighten you into abandoning yourself, you become more than noticeable. You become, at last, untouchable. Rule 7. Become the person they cannot replace. The 7th rule is final. Become so complete, disciplined, and strategically valuable that ignoring you becomes impossible. Not because you demand attention, not because you chase recognition, but because your absence leaves a silence nobody else can fill. This is where all the previous rules become one identity. Presence without value is theater. Value without boundaries becomes exploitation. Silence without competence becomes emptiness. Mystery without substance becomes a mask. Reputation without character becomes fragile. Emotional control without purpose becomes stagnation. You need a mind that does not beg, a body that reflects discipline, a voice that wastes no words, a reputation built on evidence, and a mission strong enough to survive rejection. Most people are ignored because they are easily replaced. They think, speak, react, and live by the same weak impulses. They make themselves familiar, predictable, and cheap. You must become rare in your standards, rare in your self-command, rare in the way you keep your word when excuses would be easier, rare in the way you remain calm when others lose control, rare in the way you continue working when nobody is watching. The world cannot overlook what it cannot easily duplicate. You are not becoming distant because you hate people. You are becoming selective because your future demands protection. You are not becoming emotionless. You are becoming disciplined enough to feel without surrendering command. You are not becoming arrogant. You are becoming certain. Arrogance needs witnesses. Certainty does not. Arrogance announces power. Certainty demonstrates it. Let your results speak and your standards speak first. When people test you, do not explain your worth. Show them the consequence of underestimating it. When they neglect you, do not chase. Withdraw your energy and invest it where respect exists. When they return, study their motive. Has their character changed or has their access disappeared? People often value what they can no longer control. Do not mistake renewed interest for renewed loyalty. Keep your judgment sharper than your loneliness. The man who becomes impossible to ignore is not obsessed with being remembered. He is obsessed with becoming undeniable. He builds in silence. He improves without announcing it. He removes habits that weaken his presence. He stops negotiating with his own potential. Every morning he asks what must be conquered. Every night he measures whether he moved closer to the man he claims he wants to become. This is not motivation. This is identity. Motivation leaves when the mood changes. Identity remains. Decide that you are the man who finishes, the man who walks away from disrespect, the man who cannot be bribed with pleasure, and the man whose future is too important to sacrifice for approval. Then prove it repeatedly. Not for a week. Not when it is convenient. Until discipline becomes your face, posture, silence, and name. Your voice will be calmer. Your eyes will be harder to read. Your time will be protected. They may call you different, distant, intense, or difficult. Let them. Weak people call boundaries cruelty because access once came cheaply. Your transformation will offend those who benefited from your confusion. Do not return to weakness to make them comfortable. You were not born to remain harmless, available, and overlooked. You were born to become deliberate. Become the man whose standards make excuses uncomfortable, whose silence makes manipulators nervous, and whose presence proves self-mastery is real. Comment, "My presence has weight," and let that phrase become your declaration. Like this video, subscribe to Decoding Minds, and turn on notifications. Your former self has been ignored long enough. Bury him. Build the man they cannot dismiss.